Hi there and welcome to yet another Facemaker video tutorial. I am Nuno and today we'll be creating a watch face for Garmin. Yes, Garmin has been implemented. So Garmin, this was due for a long time and I was preparing this launch for a long time, but then wearOS got in the way, and since right now the wearOS implementation was paused, life got in the way, I decided to finish the Garmin implementation, and so I did. Not all Garmin watches are supported, so let me show you here. Let's go into the Garmin site, the developer website. So you can see here there are a lot of Garmin watches with 8, 16 and 64 colors, screen colors. So I mean, I didn't think it was worth it, to be frank. They're older watches, and while Garmin are all incredible devices and great watches, I mean, I didn't think it was worth it, basically. So only the watches with, let me show you here. So with the API level 5 and AMOLED are supported. Okay, we have a lot of them here. They're more or less like 20 devices. Not all of them are implemented, so I think I'm still lacking the Venue 2 and the Venue 2 Plus, but this is now very easy to implement, so I can implement them in 5 minutes or so. Okay, so Garmin, yes. I'm gonna show you, oh, by the way, Facemaker also supports the Fit 3, as you can see here, and it has a lot of new stuff on this latest version. For example, now the always-on display is embedded in the main watch canvas. You can have the whole behavior, which is to have the AOD detached like this. So this is the old behavior, to have the AOD on another screen, but quite frankly, I think I prefer to have it attached to the main watch, okay? So it all depends on your taste. Some will like it like it was before. So you can keep the default, which is to have the AOD detached. But just know that right now you can have it on the same screen, and Facemaker will switch into the AOD when you select the AOD or any of the widgets inside of it. Okay, so yes, and this is the Fit 3. I implemented a lot of looks, all the looks from the Fit 3. So yeah, and this is available on the standard edition, so you can pay the minimum and get this new watch Fit 3. And I don't think this is supported by any other software right now. I know it will soon or might become available on the official Huawei software, but they haven't updated it for a long time, so I don't know. Okay, so yes, let's go and switch this into a Garmin watch. So let's search for Garmin. There we go. These are the currently available watches, and they're all AMOLED, and they all support the API level 5. Okay, so you can see here that we don't have the Venue 2, although it's an AMOLED and it has the API level 5, but I will do it during this weekend or so. So yes, let's go with the Approach S70. Any watch would do, I guess, but yes, Okay, so let's add an image to start. Oh, and by the way, I would like to show you how fast you can create a watch face for Garmin now. So are you ready? Let's open a chronometer here, or a stopwatch. And let me just make this window smaller, right there. So, okay, let's create a very simple watch face. And see how much it will take us in terms of time. So 1, 2, 3 and play. There we go. Let's add an image. Let's go into the library and load just about any of these backgrounds. There we go. Now we can put it on the top left. Here I'll add a time analog dial, add an hours, minutes, and seconds rat race. And now let's load images. Let's use this one. Okay, library, and this one, and finally the seconds, and this one, and stop. Okay, we have the most simple watch face in the world, but it should work. If I press play, you'll see it in action. But the only way to know if this runs on the watch is by running the CIQ Simulator, which is the official Garmin's watch simulator. So let's press it. And right now Facemaker is generating all the images and actually creating the watch face for you. So this is how it will look on the watch. And this is a complete simulation of the watch, so you know it will work. Okay, and it only took us 22 seconds. I'd like to see any Garmin developer create this basic watch face in 22 seconds. It would give him time to write one line of code at best. Okay, so yes, this is how good Facemaker is with Garmin. And by the way, let me show you how you can configure Facemaker to be able to work with Garmin. So here on the export, now we have a new section which is for Garmin. And to generate and create Garmin watch faces, you have to first generate a developer key. So you press it and Facemaker creates it for you. Okay, this is an encrypted key. I'm not sure of the size of the encryption is, but yes, Facemaker creates it for you, so you don't have to worry. You can also select a key you had earlier, so you can keep on using the same key. And this is more important, which is the Garmin SDK path. So the SDK path, or rather the SDK, is the software development kit. And this allows you to generate Garmin watch faces, and it's necessary. Usually you would have to download the SDK manager from Garmin. With Facemaker, you only need to press this button, and Facemaker will download it into this folder, the app data, roaming, Garmin Connect, and so on, and set it all for you easily. Only the watches that Facemaker supports are downloaded. So only what's absolutely needed for Garmin development on Facemaker is downloaded. Okay, so you can also select, if you install the SDK using the Garmin SDK manager, you can also select the SDK path here. But I advise you to use the download button, because Facemaker downloads the devices, and only the devices that Facemaker needs. So yes, this is what I recommend. Okay, so I think we can start now. Yes, I thought about what watch face I would be creating. And I needed something simple, but that had some caveats. And I thought this one was perfect. So this will show exactly what you can do in Garmin. It's not an easy watch face to create. I don't have the name of the design creator, so I can't quite give the credits to the original designer. But yes, this is a watch face I created for another watch some time ago, and I decided to create it for Garmin too. So we'll be using this image as a reference. Okay, so let's go back into Facemaker and finally start this sucker. Okay, so here I added a background container and added an image. So now we need to load an image into it. Okay, so, and the best way you can do this, or at least the faster one, is to go into your, I don't know, your GIMP or Photoshop and just Control C here. And then here, just over this image preview here and press Control V. And there we go. We have the image automatically imported. You could also just press upload or even generate or import from the library. You can also copy an image from the internet. So let's, for example, let me see here, just about any image. So we don't have an image. Okay, so let me just show you real quick and select images, and yeah, this one for example. Let's copy image, and then here on Facemaker, over this preview, Control V, and there we go. We have the image. Oh, and by the way, this right now you can't move it because Facemaker is trying to keep the image inside the boundaries of the screen. If you want to disable this behavior, just go into the interface and disable contain widgets. And now we can't move it outside the canvas. And I could set it like this, and then you'll notice that we have the image is outside the canvas right now. This is why this is red, okay? And this is not good. You have to keep your images inside the screen. So for that, we can simply go and press crop to canvas. And there we go. Now it's an image that is contained inside the screen and perfectly usable now, okay? But yes, let's go back into our watch face creation. So I'm gonna copy it again and press Control V and done, okay? So this is the reference image. So I'll double click here and change the name. You could also set the label here, but I prefer to do it here much faster, okay? So we have the reference, and now let's start building. This image here I added will be this background, this dark background. So let's press generate. And by the way, I'm going to re-enable the contain widgets option because it's easier to just go up to the left corner or the bottom left corner here. Okay, so we're in generate mode. I am going to copy or pick these colors or this gray right there and add it to the favorites, okay? So this is done. Let's make the image the same size as the screen. And there we go. And for now, I am going to turn off the guidelines. Let's lock it, it's done, and let's proceed. New image. And now we need this this part here, this structure you see here, okay? This will be above the background image, and yes, let's create it. So right now it will be a simple image. Let's pick the colors right there, and you might see some saturation. If you see saturation, to remove it, you simply drag it to the left. And here I'll do the same. right there. So this should work. Same size as the screen. And there we go. Now, you can see that this structure here has some cutouts. So we can see what's behind. So we have to create some shapes that we can then extract from this image here, okay? And let me show you how you can do it. So let's add an image, and the best tool to do this would be the draw vector. I'm going to re-enable the guidelines so we can see where the middle of the watch face is, which is this line here, okay? And we'll go beyond it, okay, up to the left, and at the first control point, the second control point, the third, and now I'm gonna press Control Alt to keep the 45 degrees increments. So that way we're sure that this line is perfectly straight. Okay, and we're almost done. There we go. And we don't need to connect them, so we can simply press Fill. And there we go. Now we need to account for this curve here and all these curves. This is why I cut the corners, so we can now set the right curve by using these control points. And all you have to do is drag them and tweak them. And now I can see this control point. Way to go, Nuno. And there we go. Okay. We'll make this more or less in the correct spot. Let's zoom in and tweak this curve here. And right there. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, you can make it your own way. Right there, and now this one, and finally this one here. Okay, I don't expect all the new users to be able to do this right off the bat. I mean, I think it's easy enough right now, but many people will struggle because this is a somewhat complex tool, the vector draw. So right now this is filled and ready to go, so let's press save. There we go. Now we have half a shape. All I need now is a mirror effect. And press horizontal, and there we go. We have the shape we needed. And I believe this is correct. You can tweak it afterwards, so even with the effect applied, if I come in here and press Edit Vector, you'll notice that the vector is still there. So all I need to do is find the control point. I really have to make it visible, I guess. I'll push this down just a little bit. But just keep in mind that you can tweak it afterwards, okay? So if I press save now, Facemaker will reapply the effect and everything will be back to normal, okay? So yes, this shape is done. Now we need this one, and this one will be easy peasy. So let's add the image, and here let's press draw vector, and let's draw this shape. Here I'm pressing Control Alt to keep the a straight line, and right now I'm pressing just Alt, so just so we have this preview, and Control Alt will keep the 45 degrees increments. Okay, so now let's account for these curves. This is very easy, I think. Right there. Right there. And now we can fill it and save and done. And as before, we'll add a mirror effect. So mirror and horizontal. Okay, this is done. Now these here are easier. here we don't need to use a vector draw tool. We just need squares and rectangles, as you see here. Okay, so let's create it by pressing generate. And we don't need to set a color, quite frankly, but I'll do it just to keep everything the same color. Okay, so now let's set the width. And let me lock it for now, because that way we don't have that border. Right there, so 187 and 187. Now I'll push it downwards just a little bit and yes, okay. This might work, I believe it will. So now that we have this the square, we can use it to create the others, basically. So if I clone it and unlock it, now I can simply put it here and just resize it. Now let me see if this is on the same Y coordinate, and it is. So I think this will do. Right there, and maybe a little bit to the right. And yes. Now we can simply duplicate it, unlock it, and push it to the right. Let's zoom in. Now, you know, we're recreating this watch face, and we can do it the way we want, as long as it's similar, it looks the same more or less. I don't care, basically. So, okay, now let's unlock the aspect ratio and increase the width. And there we go. And yes, this will work. Okay. So now I'm going to apply the resize, and you should do the same for the others. It's not necessary, but I prefer to have it applied, always applied. Okay, so here I will clone this widget, bring it down, make sure this is in the same X coordinate. So let me just lock it. And I believe it is. You know, right now when you're scaling images like this, you might get some bleeding on the edges. So the best way to do it right now is to press generate, and then, oh, I believe this is the same width. Yeah, perfect. Okay, let's resize the height. This might be too much. So, and there we go. This is now done. Let me just zoom out and clone it, and then push it down. And I believe we're done. And indeed we are. Okay, so these shapes are done. So the problem is we need to round the corners here. Okay, so we have a perfect effect for this, which is called rounded corners. And I'll go with 40. Oh, it's way too much. Let me see. Yeah, way too much. Let's go 20. And this is absolutely perfect. Okay. And done. Let's zoom out. So with this effect, you can tweak the corners independently. So right there, you see on the top left, you can give it different radiuses. So, or radius. Yeah, this is done. Let's proceed and make the rest of them. So here I will apply the last rounded corners. And it needs to be more, because this is based on percentages. So since this shape is smaller, 20 is not enough. So let's go with 40. Still not enough. Perhaps 80. Way too much. So yeah, you have to experiment, and it might take some tries until you achieve what you want. Okay, this is not perfect, but I'll go with it. It's 45. There you go, and 45. This doesn't have the same curvature you see here, but I think this would be too round if it had the same curvature as this large one. Okay, so I don't care. 45 is good, so let's proceed. And now we can apply the last one, and this will save us some time. Rounded corners, and this one too. Effects, rounded corners, and we're done. And now all we need is these down here, and this is very easy. So all we need to do is come in here. We have these two shapes here. I will merge them, add, and now they're one single shape, and I want to mirror it into the bottom part. So we have, of course, the mirror effect. Let's apply it and select vertical. And there we go, all done. We can apply the effect and perhaps merge all these shapes. So let's do that. Add, 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 and I believe, yeah, this is the last one. Okay, now we have a cutout that we can, extract from this background image. So let's do that. Have the cutout image above the background image, and just press this button and select subtract. And you can't see much right now, but if I enable the real background, this dark gray here, ta-da! There you go. Yes, we have exactly what we needed. But if you notice here on the reference, it has some sort of bevel. It has a shadow being cast on the background. So we have to account for all that. Oh, and another important thing, which is this noise you see here. Noise is important because it turns something that looks a perfect color into something that has texture. And I can't stress this enough. The noise effect is very important, and you'll see why. So right now we have this right here. Okay, let's apply some noise here on the background image. Let's select noise and apply it. And immediately you see, now we have some texture. This might be too much, but a level 1 noise will work. Okay, so here I'll apply the same effect. And there we go. This is the first step. The next one will be a bevel. So on this one here, I'll apply, or let's apply the noise. And now let's apply a bevel effect. So the bevel works like this. You have a shadow and a highlight color. So the highlight color right now is too bright. Let's make this darker. Something like this. And yes, I think this will work. So, and right now I want the shadow, or rather the highlight, to be cast from exactly above. So we don't need the side bevel, this here, we don't want it. So I'm going to remove it by setting the X coordinate of the shadow and the highlight to 0. So let's do that. And there we go. Now the highlight and shadows are being applied from above. And this is exactly what we needed. I might make it just a little bit lighter. And there we go. And yes, this is standing out much better now. And I believe this will be even better when we apply a shadow effect. So let's search for shadow, select it, and let's apply some blur. Let's go with 10. And I might go with 20. There we go. We want it to be more dramatic, you know, to give some clear distinction between what's in the background and this foreground frame. So yes, I believe this shadow effect will work. Okay, this is now done. Let's hide it. And let's take a look for a second here on the reference image. So you'll notice that we have steps here and the battery down here. And we have a hand that will move according to the current steps or battery values. But if you look closely, this hand has to be behind this frame, and this part here will have to hide the hand. So this has to be opaque. Right here, right here, right here, and right now it isn't. If we go back into this frame we built, this is totally transparent. And this hand, when moving, we would see it moving behind or in between these cutouts here, you see here, okay? So we must have some sort of mask above that will hide this hand. And I believe this is very easy to do. I think that we can get away with a simple shape. So let's add an image. And here let's select the draw vector and enable the guidelines, because I don't think, yes, this is exactly the same on this side and on that side. So, sorry. Let's zoom in and start drawing. So you'll understand what I'm doing in just a few seconds. So we're creating some sort of a mask where we can extract from the background. Oh, let me see here. We can even do this faster. And indeed we can. So we only need to go up to the middle right here. And bear with me for 1 second. Let's fill it and save. Okay, this might not look like much right now, but I'm going to apply a mirror. There we go. And enable the horizontal and vertical options. And there we go. Just like that, we have a shape that we can extract now from the background to create a new structure. Well, sorry. To create a new structure that will hide the hands for the steps and the battery. So let's put it above the true background image, and let's clone the background image. Now we need to extract this white shape we created from this cloned background image. And the way to do it is, first we need to apply an invert alpha. Not hivert, but invert. There we go. Invert alpha. And what Facemaker did was it turned that shape we had and inverted the opacity of the pixels. So where it was opaque, it became transparent. Where it was transparent, it became opaque. So now we have opacity here that we can use to remove from this cloned background image. So let's do that. Let's press merge down, subtract. And right now you can see it, right? But if I hide this and this is what we have. And coupled with this foreground frame, you'll see that now we can have the hands moving freely behind this, and you won't see it. You will only see it here. The hands moving on this space here and on this one here, okay? Because they're now hidden by this structure we created. Okay, we're good to go now, and we can start creating more complex stuff. Yeah, I'm not over with complex stuff. The heavier stuff is coming now. So here, I think I can merge these two. So this foreground frame and this structure we created. So let's merge them, add. And keep in mind that all the effects, when you merge images, all the effects are applied. So they're no longer editable, okay? But you'll notice that due to the shadow effect we gave it, now this is bleeding outside the watch screen, and we don't want that, okay? Remember to always keep your images inside the screen canvas. And for that, we can simply crop the canvas and then apply a sphere effect. And this is now this image you see here, just perfect, okay? So let's proceed, take a look at the reference image, and now I'll be creating this, okay? This dial marks all around, and this is very easy. All I need to do is add an image, press generate, and switch from polygon to dial. And immediately we have a sort of a dial that right now is using the template month day. You have to switch it to hours 12. And let's disable the digits. So right now we're not showing anything, okay? It's an empty image, but now we'll solve it by adding hours and minutes. So now we have the hours and minutes ticks or marks or whatever you want to call it. And we need to make this larger. So let's increase size, and we have to keep in mind that we'll be cutting this image later. So this has to go outside this square you see here. So I think I'll push it to the left just a little bit. If you want the freedom to just move it with the mouse, you know you have to enable that contain widgets option on the preferences, okay? So let's make it a little bit larger. And let's increase the width of the hours. So here, the height, I mean. And this might be too large now, or maybe not. We have to move it upwards. So right there, and to the left, and now increase the height of the hours. And there we go, perfect result. And now let's increase the height of the minutes. And there we go. I think this will work perfectly. This is done, and we can call it done and unpress generate, okay? So right now we have this shape, but it doesn't look anything like the concept. So if you look here, this looks like it's behind this square shape. And it will be in a few seconds. So, oh God, I forgot one thing. Let me see here. Okay, I forgot that this shape here, so this one, should be between that structure we created and this this foreground shape, okay? Okay, we can still save it, I believe. So let me just think for a second here. Okay, I think we can save it. Let's hide this and bring back the foreground image, this one here. Now I want to create a shape exactly like this one, okay? Sorry about this. I should have thought about it better. But you know, this might even be beneficial for you, because this will allow you to solve some problems that will arise when you're creating your watch faces. So let's make it exactly the same size as the cutout on the background, okay? So 187. And wow, this is weird. I'm not quite sure. It seems to be wider. Or the height. Let me just make sure the size is correct, because this is important. Okay, this has to be the same exact size as that cutout you see there. Okay, so that might be the shadow. So let's push it up and leave 1 pixel there. Okay, and this will be 187. And push it down just 1 pixel, and there we go. And now, if you recall, this was, let me see, rounded corners, 20, I believe. And there we go. Like that and like that. Okay, now we have a perfect cutout of the shape we had before. I just need to make it the same color as this background. So let's zoom in and try to, now let me see here, fill color. Let's apply a fill color. Well, this was a bummer. Let's pick this lighter color and then apply a noise texture just to make it exactly the same. Right there. And let me see here, this might be too much, so let's bring back, and there we go. Now this, yes, this is perfect. But now we lost that shadow effect, and we can kind of fake it, and this is what I wanted to show you. So let's select inner shadow. There we go. Now we need to make it more or less the same. I think it was 10. And yes, I believe the result is perfect. Okay, now we have this shape and we can use it. So let's duplicate it, because we need it to cut this dial image, okay? To keep it inside this, okay? So let's do that, and let's you know, hide it for now. And on this cloned image, we'll remove all these effects. We don't need them. Oh, we needed the we needed the rounded corners. Okay, no problem. We know it's a 20, like this. And I will soon show you how this is working for the watch itself, because you have to keep on checking how it looks by clicking the Run Simulator. But right now we have too many images, and this is something that you have to know about Garmin. Too many images, too many stuff on the screen, and the watch simply won't run it. Okay, so this is why the Run Simulator is so helpful, because you can see if it will run on the watch face, or rather on the watch. And yes, just keep merging all the images, keep all the images merged as fast as you can, and you won't have any problems. Okay, let's go back into this sucker here, and we now have the cutout shape to cut this dial image. So if I put it above, you'll see we want to invert this orange image. So I'm going to crop the canvas to make it the same size as the screen. And then here, as before, I will apply an invert alpha. And there we go. Now, what was opaque is now transparent, and vice versa. So now we want to remove this white part from this image with the dial here. And all we have to do is click merge down and subtract. And there we go. This is now cut to size, and you can see that it fits perfectly there. Now, I had to do this because you must have noticed that I forgot to create this image before merging this and this. And this should be like a sandwich. So this one first, then the dial, and then this. And then we could have merged them and none of this would have happened. But yes, you have to learn that sometimes this kind of thing happens. You didn't plan it correctly, so this is absolutely normal. Okay, so now let's crop the canvas, and I see we have a pixel here. So let's delete it. Add an image, switch to the eraser tool, and erase that. Okay, so we can now crop the content. Oh, we have more. We have more pixels where it doesn't matter. This is hidden and not visible in any way. So, you know what? I'll allow it. Okay, let's go and now add a, let me see here, the best way to simulate that shadow. It would be a gradient right here. And on this gradient, I will switch to, but first let me just define a simple gradient here. It will go from black to some light gray right there. And now I'll switch to a radial gradient. So this one here, okay? Let's select the, oh, but it has to be centered. God damn it. Okay, let's save this gradient. This is not running well today. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back into the image editor here, and let's go with a thick brush, and you know, just go all the way down, up and down, because I believe the pixel that is here, keeping this from being cut to the max, is somewhere hidden here, okay, outside the canvas. Now let's try and crop the content, and there we go. Now it's perfect, and we can now apply a gradient. So this gradient won't work because right now we need it to be lighter, and this might have to be lighter just a little bit. Right here, go with a darker color, and perhaps make this one darker. And well, this is not perfect. The perfect effect we wanted would be to do it like I described earlier, but this will work. We have some sort of shadow being, you know, imitated here and here. Okay, I believe this will work, so let's go with it. And okay, let me just check one or two things before we proceed and before I forget something. And I believe we can merge them. So let's do the merge, and no, not merge with this background image. Okay, so this is now done. And now I would like to proceed and add this lunar phase. Let's start adding some data. So here the lunar phase is located on the system date. And here you'll find the lunar phase. There we go. Now I'll press generate. Facemaker has a few SVG fonts that you can use to generate all kinds of things like moon phase, the weather, and all that, and they're all specific for brand. So Huawei has some fonts, Garmin has its own too, and also AMOLED Fit. Okay, so here you see what we have here. Okay, so this is good. The problem is the Facemaker font creates this sort of moon, while the reference has this cutout all around the circle, and we have to mimic that. So here I will first pick this color. There we go. Add it to the favorites, and the basic shape is done. I will go into the full moon, and above the lunar phase I will add an image and press generate. Here I will switch to circle and make it 2 pixels wide, like that, and go with a small size. Now I need it to be another color so we can understand what we're doing. So I will put it here and try to make it the right size. So this will be a cutout for us to create that this circle shape. Okay, let's go back into the lunar phase, and oh, I forgot the last image of the set as a special color that we didn't set when we created it. So I can press generate, and here we'll set it to the white color, and there we go. This is now solved, and we have that cutout we needed. If we simulate, and by the way, I am doing this by pressing shift and scrolling the mouse wheel. Okay, so this will work. Let's go into the cutout image and press merge down and subtract, and it will remove that circle we created from all the images in the image set. So now you can see what we have here. This is perfect and exactly what we needed. Okay, so let's put it in place and call it done, and bring back our images, and absolutely perfect. I like it. Okay, so now this is done, and let's proceed. Here on the reference we see that we have the date and the weather. Now I think this is too small for the temperature, so I'll only be using the weather icon on this version. Okay, so let's do it. Here I will add, or rather we have the date already, so let's add the month day, and we'll go with a simple image combo, and you can recognize the image combos by looking at the icon on the widget. Okay, so here I will press generate, and there we go. Now we have the necessary images. Facemaker created them with just a click, but we need to select another font, and I think the best font would be, I think it's Roboto or Arbitron. And yes, that's it. And I will pad it with zeros right there, and then align it to the center right here. Okay, let's make it smaller and try to match the placement. I think it's 26, and crop the content, and that way Facemaker will make the images the smaller as possible. Okay, and this is now done. We can proceed and add the month, and for the month we need an image set, which is this icon you see here, and let's press generate, and there we go. Just like that, we have the month image set. And if we press the frame editor here, and by the way, many people don't know, but you can do many things here in the frame editor. You can reorder the frames the way you want. Okay, now let's put this back to how it was. So yeah, October right there, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Okay, and you can even change the background. So if we come in here and we can give it another color, and this way you can preview better all the images. Let's put this back into transparent and submit. Okay, now we have the month images, and let's make them the right size. And remember, you have several months here. If I use the shift and the mouse wheel, you can see all the images Facemaker generated. And the best you could do is select the larger one and put it in place. And we can see that this might be too much because it goes over the width of the month day. So let's make it a little bit smaller, right there. And let's select November. And this way you'll know that this and this here will be flush, okay, on this side and on this side. And now that this is done, I am going to crop the content, and Facemaker will optimize each of the images. And remember, this is very, very important because Garmin has some limitations concerning memory, and you have to save on everything. Every pixel counts, and so you should always use the crop the content on all the images you use on your watch face, just to keep it as, you know, optimized as possible. And I wanted to change one thing here, change the widget outline color. I'll go with this blue. That green was bothering me. Okay, now let's proceed, and now we'll create the weather icon here on the right. And remember to always lock the layers. Once they're done, if you lock them, they won't get in the way, okay? So here I'm going to add an environment, weather, environment and weather. There we go. And as I said earlier, the Facemaker has a font to create the 54 icons that Garmin uses. And you heard it right, it's 54. So if I press generate, there we go. And now let's increase the size. And you'll notice that we have 54 icons here. Let me show you. And this is absolutely mind-blowing. 54 icons, different icons that I had to create and create a font for them. So this is a vector font, so you can make it as large as you want, and it will always have quality, as you see here. Okay, so keep this in mind. Let's go with 23 for now, and then we'll resize it here. And there we go. Now this should work perfectly, and we're done. We can lock the weather and proceed. Okay, now one important thing, the digital time here. This should be quick enough. We just have to add a digital dial container and then insert hours. And here I'll press generate. And for this one, I think I used this nameless font you see here, and indeed I have. So all we need to do is resize it, and something like this. And let's pick that color, that orange color, right here and right here. Add it to the favorites because I believe I'll be using it later for the hands. Now this is done, but we still need to crop the content. So remember, optimize your images. And this is now done. We can add the minutes. So let's go with an image combo and press generate. Oh, I forgot to pad it with zeros. So this is important because when it's 10:08, the way it is, it will only show an 8. Okay, so remember to pad it with zeros. There might be situations where this is not the case, that you don't need the padding, but for hours and minutes and seconds, yeah, I think you'll need them. Okay, so here, this is done. Let's press crop the content and place it. And we can even enable the, oh, it's enabled already. So we can, this way we can align it to the hours. And yes, I believe this is done. Okay, now these two dots here, we can now lock the time And on the background image, I will have a text artistic. Insert 2 dots. There we go, just like that. It's done. We place it there, and this will be turned into an image on the output, on the final watch face. But we can do it right now by pressing convert to image and then crop the contents. Okay, this way the image is as small as can be. Okay, so let's zoom out and see what we have up until now, and I would say this is coming along quite nicely. Now let me just take a look at the reference. Oh yes, we have the heart rate line graph, this widget here. So to create one of these, you had a health, heart rate, and here I will put it behind the digital dial and select line graph. And there we go. Just like that, we have a line graph for the heart rate. We need that orange color, so I'll pick the color. And you might be thinking, well, you saved the color earlier, why doesn't he have it here? Well, this is the color picker, and there's another picker, which is the gradient picker. So they're separate, they're independent, so that's why. Okay, now this is done, and I think this line is too thick, so I'll go with 1 pixel width for the line, and now I'll make it the right size. So let's bring back all the images, and here let's resize this. Right there. Let's give it a margin on the top and on the sides. So let's resize this and place it. Okay, maybe a little bit more. And there we go. This is exactly what we needed. So we have the line graph. If I press preview, you can see what we have here. Okay, I'm not sure. This would be a very busy day without sleeping. Okay, but yeah, this is just a preview, and I had to output a line that had its ups and downs, and yeah, consider it a preview. This is not a real heart rate. Okay, so this is now done, but on the background, if you notice here on the reference, we have this sort of orange color coming from the bottom. So let's create that. Here I will bring everything back, and I'll add a new image and press generate, and it's already that orange color we need. We just need to set the size, the width, and the height. Let's go with 60 for now. And this is of course too small, but we'll take care of it. Right there. And I believe that maybe re-enabling the, this way we have the border, and we can see exactly the size we need. So let's tweak it. And now let's make it shorter and increase the width. And there we go. Exactly the same size as the line graph widget. And now we need to make it transparent on the top. And for that we have the gradient tool. I will set the top color to black and then remove the opacity. And there we go. Now we have exactly what we need. Transparent on the top, and you know, sort of opaque on the bottom. But right now this is totally opaque, and we need to remove some of the opacity to make it lighter. Something like this. And yes, I believe this is a perfect result. Now we need to make it round on the bottom and on the top. So let's do that. Rounded corners. And let's try 20. Now the bottom ones, and it has to be more, of course. So let's go with 30. And yes, it will work. Let's lock the layers and see what we have here. And this will do. Okay, we're done with the line graph, and we can apply the effects and all that, so we can now proceed. Here on the background, now the reference image has the heart rate on this place here, so let's add it. Here first I'll need an image, or not generate. We'll go into the library, and here on the stencils you have all the images you will ever need to have an icon for just about any data type. In this case we need the heart rate, and we have several. We have 3 at least. So let's select this one and scale it right there. Just try to make it more or less the same size. Remember, we're recreating an existing watch face, and it doesn't really matter that it has to be exactly the same. So here I'll apply a fill color, and I want this darker, or rather this grayish color here, right there. Okay, so this is done, and now we need to add the heart rate image combo itself, this one here. So let's add a ALL heart rate. Oh, we have one already. Okay, let's use it. Here I'll add an image combo and press generate. There we go. Now for this one we need a different font, which I believe is Arbitron Bold, and there we go. And let's pick that color there, this and this, and remember you have total control over the gradient. You can move these and add new control points, okay, and make it a different color, for example. For now I am going to remove it and add this color to the favorites. Okay, I believe it was here already, but it doesn't matter. Okay, now let's set the size right there, and this needs to be smaller, I think. And there we go. This is now perfect. And remember to crop the content and then pad it with zeros. This one is padded, and I'll push it just a tad upwards, because I think that on the reference it wasn't centered. Okay, so let's do it like this, and you can even shift select and then use the arrow keys to move several widgets at the same time, just like this. And now this is centered, and this is done, and I will apply a center alignment here. It doesn't matter, because right now this is padded, and you can have it aligned to whichever side you want it. But if it wasn't padded, then the alignment has some effect, as you can see here. Okay, so it doesn't matter, it's padded, but we'll set it to the center or to the left, right there. Okay, so this is now done. We can proceed and take care of the next widget. So I see that now we can start adding some more data, the steps, for example, and we need this scale here on the top. So let's take care of it. There are several ways we could achieve this. I think the best way would be to have, let's say, perhaps, yes, I will go with the vector draw tool. So let's add an image, and we need to add this this mark here. Okay, so, or rather not, I think I can go with a dial generator. So let's do that. Align it to the top, and we know it's 16, so it must be 16 on the left too. Now we need to set the width and height. So 16 times 2, which is this margin and the bottom margin, or the left margin and the right margin. 16 times 2, 32. 454 minus 32 is 422. So let's do that. Oh, we're creating a polygon, sorry. 422. There we go. Now we have a dial. We don't need the numbers, but we need the hours at least. There we go. Now you see where they're going, okay? We need to have more, or so it seems. The problem is, yeah, this will not do it. Let me explain why. Since you can insert each and every number that appears on the hour marks, I had to establish a limit. Otherwise you would have 60 fields here. And I might implement someday. Right now I think the best we can have is the month day, and it goes only up to 31. And as I see it, 31 is not enough, because if I lower this value, you will see that it's definitely not enough. So we needed more marks here in order to be able to achieve this distance between the marks. So this won't do. I'll go with a draw vector tool, and here I will draw a single mark. So let's enable the guidelines. Click and click and increase the line width. Let's go with 3 and make the tips square. Okay, now this is done. Let's save, and we have that one. Okay, now we need to replicate it and make it rotate, and this is very easy. Let's start by adding some rotation and put it on the starting point right there. Okay, now I'll apply a array rotation, this one here, and we know we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So amount 11. And now increase the rotation. Right there. And I believe this will work perfectly. So I think that the correct value would be 9, or no, it has to be 9.2, because we need it to be centered here on the middle guideline. Okay, so you have to think about these things, and you usually have a reference image. It doesn't have to be exactly like the reference image. As long as you have true values, correct values here, it doesn't matter. What matters is the final result. So let's go with this and apply the rotation. So, well, I'm sorry, this became extremely large, and I'm not quite sure where it went. Okay, let's check the values, and oh, it's here. Okay, I'm not sure what happened, but it's back and it's correct, which is exactly what we needed, and we can proceed. Okay, now the smaller marks, and for that I am going to do exactly the same thing, but this time I am going to create the line here and then rotate it. Okay, so let's do that. And you have to be careful, because you have to try and create it exactly on the center. Right there. And right there. And this time I'll go with 2. No, let's go with 3 and make it a square right there, and save. Okay, we have the first one, and now we need, as before, to apply a array rotation. So this time I think we need 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's apply an array rotation. We can even apply the last one. That way, you know, it will have exactly the same amount of degrees here. Okay, let's just make it 10. Not 12, but 10. There we go. And then we can apply, and this is done. How easy was that? Okay, so now you'll notice that it's exactly the same thing for the bottom. So we can get away with just using a mirror effect and clicking the vertical option, and there we go, it's there. And let's do the same thing for the larger lines. So you know what, I am going to remove this effect and merge these two. Okay, they can be merged, so add. And now when we apply the mirror effect, both will be already merged, and this is done. Okay, so now you'll notice that this has a icon for the battery and for steps up here. So we'll apply the mirror effect and press edit image, and we'll delete that center mark right here, and let's go to the bottom. And by the way, I am dragging the screen by clicking the right mouse button and then dragging. Okay, so this is done. Let's save and let's proceed. Now you'll notice that this is way too bright, so this is some grayish color with the added effect of the shadow behind. So this needs to be behind this structure. Let's put it there, right there. Let's show everything. And now we need it to be darker, but you'll notice that the shadow is having an effect. And this is what we wanted. Now we just need to make it darker, and for that I'm going to apply a fill color and select a darkish gray, something like this. And yes, this one will do. So this is done. We can now proceed and take a look at our reference. Here we need to have these marks, so 0 to 100%. Here empty and full for the battery. We need to add the icons, so let's do that. We can add the icons right now. So image, and let's go into the library, and let's start by adding the walking man. So this should be here on steps, and there we go. Let's zoom in, and first crop the content. There we go, and then resize it, place it. You have to think about that sometimes you make things too small, and then you look at the watch face on the watch and you can't really see things. So you have to be careful when you resize things, because yeah, size matters in this case. So last fill color, and this is way too dark. I think I saved that. Oh, I didn't. Okay, let's pick the color from here and add it to the favorites, and done. And now the battery. So I'm going to simply clone this widget and load that battery icon from the library. So I think it's this one, and indeed it is. Let's unlock it, break it down, then crop the contents, zoom in, resize, and place it. There we go. We might even get away with making it just a tad larger. And there we go. Now we'll apply, oh, it has the fill color already. So Yeah, this is why I cloned the steps one, because it has that fill color effect we needed. Okay, we can now proceed. Let's add the steps and the battery image combos. So here I don't think I have a steps widget, and I don't. So let's go to health and have the steps widget, or rather a container, and remember to put it on the bottom, because this has to be behind everything else because of this hand here. You see here, this needle will have to be behind this structure we have here, okay? And by the way, we should take care of that. Start defining where things will go, the order of the layers, okay? And we'll do that in just a moment. Right now, let's focus on adding the steps image combo and press generate. And immediately we have an almost perfect, or rather a perfect result. This is done. We can simply crop the content and pad it with zeros, align it to the left. It can be the left, and place it. And there we go. Steps are almost done. We just need that hand I mentioned. So let's add it right now. And you'll see why the order of the layers is important and the way I thought about doing it, okay? So the heart rate will also have to be here after the steps, okay? Because you'll notice that we have a needle for the, or rather, it's not the heart rate, it's the battery. Yeah, let's add the battery. Okay, the battery is located on the system main container and inside the battery container. And now we can put it here. And the battery and the steps have to be on the bottom because of this needle. Because we'll put this structure above these two so we can hide the needles, okay? So let's proceed and add the battery image combo right here and press generate, and then crop the content and pad with zeros and put it in place. And just like that, we have the battery image combo done. Okay, let's bring back our design and see how this looks. And I believe this is, yeah, this is very good. Okay, let's make sure everything is centered. So right there, and yes, okay. Now let's take care of the needles. So here I will add a rotary, and this rotary will go from the center and all the way up to these marks here. Okay, so Facemaker has a simple hand generator. You can access it by clicking this button here. There we go. Now this is a very simple needle, and you'll notice that the pivot is located on the center, and more on that in just a moment. Now we need to make it the correct height. So I'll put it there. It will go all the way up to here, I guess. And yes, this will work, but we need it to be thinner. So let's go with 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom. There we go. Now we'll center it, something like this. We'll give it that orange color, but this will have to do something different because you'll notice that we have this shadow. So we have to mimic it here, okay, on the top. And for that, all we need to do is just, add a new stop here and drag this down. Just to mimic that shadow that is being cast by this structure here. And we can make it look, sharper, just like that. And okay, now let's set the height. And there we go, we have a hand. Now we need to set the pivot. The pivot is the place around or where the hand rotates around. So it should be located here. We know the height is 210, so let's put the y coordinate of the pivot on 210. Right there, and perhaps push it to the left. There we go. And this hand is done. Now we need to set the start and the hand angles, okay? And that's as simple as pushing this. Oh, we need to, yeah, until it reaches that first point, which is minus 46. So if this is minus 46, we know that here is 46. There we go. And yes, I believe this is done. Let's preview. Just like that. Okay, so now you see all the management problems I talked about earlier. You'll notice that right now this is above everything. This end is above these images we created, and we can't have that. We need to merge all this that will be above those hands, those needles, and put them above them. So let me show you here. Let's start merging some images. Let me just check. Okay, now the battery, this can be on the background, the steps too, and this image. Okay, we can proceed and merge all these. So let me show you here. Oh, sorry. I think, no, I said it above, sorry. Okay, let's start merging. Right there, and let me just check everything, and right there. Okay, so this needs to be above the needle, and for that all we need to do is grab this and put it above the battery and the steps. I know it's inside the battery, but as long as the image combo and the needle are beneath this foreground image, and by the way, let's rename it, everything will work. So you'll see now what we have here. Let's press preview. How great is that? So this structure we created earlier is now above the needles, and everything is hidden underneath it. Okay, so this is absolutely perfect and exactly what we needed. Now, I can see here that we didn't need to give it that point, that tip with, imitation of shadow, because this is actually casting a shadow over it. It is above. So I might go into this rotary here and apply an effect and give it a fill color effect, and use that orange color. And you can see that we have shadow. Okay, so this should work. It doesn't really matter. Okay, this is done. Let's apply, and now let's create the hand for the battery. And the best about this is that we can use this one that we created earlier, this one here. So let's add a rotary right there. And let's come into this rotary here, and over this image preview, we click Control-C on the keyboard. And then here, over the image preview, we press Control-V. And there we go. We have the hand copied, the image of the hand copied from this one into this one. Now we need to place it exactly on the same spot as the steps one. So here, 226 by 18, 226, 18. And there we go, exactly in the same place. And let's check the pivot. So 1, 210, 1, 210. There we go. Now you're wondering, but Nuno, this has to be down here? Well, usually I tell people to import all images for the rotaries facing north, or the 12 o'clock here, okay? And then you can set the angles to start here and end here. And I believe that's the right, yes, empty and full. Okay, so let's do that. Now let's set the start and end angles. It has to start on this one and end on this one. So I believe this is 180, so maybe 212, 220. Yeah, it has to be more. Right there. And now the end angle has to be smaller so that this rotates counterclockwise, okay? So let's go with, I don't know, 140. Has to be less. Right there. Okay, so this should be done now. If I press preview, you see that this is moving correctly, okay? From empty to full. And this is how the rotaries work. If the start angle is larger than the end angle, the hand will move in counterclockwise fashion, okay? And if the start angle is smaller than the end angle, it will move clockwise, okay? Keep this in mind. You also have a video on my channel showing how rotaries work, so take a look at it if you have doubts. Okay, almost done. I think I'll add these marks here, the 0, 100. So let's do that. Here on the background image, let's put it above for now. Perhaps here, so image, or rather not an image, sorry. We'll have a artistic text. There we go. And this will be 0. Okay, so we'll put it there, and it has to be smaller. So let's go with 14, 16. There we go. Now we'll rotate it by -45. I'm not really sure. Yes, this should work perfectly, and place it, and we're done. We can now simply clone it and move it here and change the text to 100. And now instead of a -45 angle, we'll go with a 45. And try to center this more or less. There we go. And I believe this is, yeah, it's using this color here. You know what? I might make it a little bit darker. So let's do that. Right there. Let's save it to the favorites and apply the same color here. Right there. Okay, so you'll notice that now we have these numbers that are above the hand. We can't have that. It has to be on the background. So let's select both of them, press Ctrl X, and now select the background and press Ctrl V. And the widgets are transferred or moved into the background container. So now we can put these underneath here and here, because this one, yeah, it's the dial. Okay, so this is now perfect. We can simply lock them and take care of the empty and full for the battery. So let's do that. Image. And you can't see it because all these are above. And the way you can solve it was to create it here or hide them all, and now you can see it, okay? And it's not an image, sorry, it's an artistic text. And let's use an E for empty This one can be larger, as you can see on the reference. And as I said earlier, you don't have to do exactly like the reference. You can do it more or less the same. So here, 45. Let's place it right there. And I believe, no, it's this color here. And it's using the right color. So this is done. We now clone it and change the text to F for full and move it. And now we need to change the angle. So minus 45 and place it there, right there. And I believe this is now done. I will merge. I think this one needs some tweaking. Just push it down just a tad. And this is now done, and we can now merge it with this background image. So let's do that. So which one is, oh, we can merge them all. So let's do that. Add, and yes, there we go. They're all merged into one single image, and this is great because Garmin, as I said, has severe memory limitations, so you have to merge them as much as you can. Okay, so I think there's one thing missing here, which is the distance up here. So let's add it. Here on the ELF, we'll select, ELF distance. There we go. And here we'll add an image combo and press generate. So now we have the distance. The problem is we need to crop the content, so the numbers are closer together. There's just one problem about this. First, we have to change the color. And then if I press crop the content, this happens. So what Facemaker does is all image combo images should be the same width. This is because of calculations that are made to display the watch face on the watch. The problem is the distance image combo has one image, which is this dot, which should be smaller. So to solve this, all we need to do is select the dot image, this one, and press Edit File on External Editor. So this is a feature you can access by setting the on the Preferences General tab. You can set the your graphics editor executable path. In this case, I'm using GIMP. Okay, so if you set the path here, then you have this option here, and if I press it, GIMP will open the image automatically, and we can use the GIMP tools to crop. So I'm going to crop the selection, there we go, and then override. And then we go back to Facemaker. Magically, the image will be updated and the dot is now smaller. So this was solved easily by using this trick, okay? Now this, I will align it to the right and put it here, okay? And now we need the distance units. So this will change according to the settings on the watch, if you use imperial or metric units, okay? So let's generate. And right now, Facemaker is using kilometers, so the metric system. Let's crop the content, of course, and this is now done and perfect, okay? So this will change on the watch depending on if you have miles, or rather imperial or metric units. I just noticed that when I generated this one here, we have to align it to the left, because when we switch from kilometers to miles, you'll notice that miles is smaller, and since this was generated aligned to the center, the distance between the numbers and the distance units will increase. We don't want that. So let's align it to the left, right there. And now that this is done, we can crop the content and place it. And now you'll notice that when I do a preview, it always remains the same distance remains between the numbers and the distance units. Okay, so yes, keep this in mind. Let's proceed. Not much left to do, I think. So here, I believe I need to add the AM PM. So AM PM 24. Let me just take a look here at the reference and hide this. So right now we're looking at the reference. AM PM, and this is absolutely perfect. We can just simply place it there and this is done. Okay, so lock it and show this and battery right there. Okay, so now all there's left for us to do is create the hands for the analog dial here for the analog clock. So let's do that, and this should be quite easy and fast. So let's add a time analog dial, and on this one we'll start by adding an hour's rotary and press generate. So we need it to be small, and you'll notice on the reference, let me just hide this and hide the background. This is thinner on the tip and larger or wider on the base. So here, I'll try to place it on the right spot. And now we need to make the tip thinner. So let's go with a 3, okay? Or rather, no, let's go with 5, and here on the base, we'll go with 9. And now let's make it shorter. Right there. And okay, now we have a problem because we need to center this. So it has to be exactly in the center for these marks here. Now the horizontal one is correct, but the vertical one is not. So we need to adapt the guidelines, and let's do that. Bring the guidelines right there, and it's done. And you can tweak the guidelines whenever you want, just like this. So now let's set the gradient. It's an orange color, and let's set the pivot. The hand is done, by the way. We can simply set the pivot now, and we're done. Now let's take care of the minutes. Minutes, generate. And as far as I recall, it was 5 and 9. Right there. Okay, let's place it and tweak the height. Like this. I'll go with 3 for this one. Yeah, but it seems to be thinner, if you notice here. So yeah, no, this is way too much. Let's go with 9, and this is done, and we can now set the pivot. And to see how the one on the hours is located, just hide this one, and you'll notice that the pivot is exactly in the same spot. So this will work perfectly. And finally, the seconds. Oh, I forgot about the color. No problem. We'll add a fill color right there and select the orange color we've been using. So yeah, minutes is done. Now let's add the seconds and press generate. Now this has to be much thinner. We'll go with 3 and 3. There we go. Okay, let's take a look at where this should be. I believe this is correct. So let's make it shorter. This will work. So now we need that round center you see there. Let's add a center. Let's make it smaller. And since we have an odd number here for the dimensions, you should have an odd number here too. That way you know that this will always be perfectly centered. And now let's push it up. Right there. And now we can place it correctly. And voila, this is done. We just need to set the color and all done. I believe this has some shadow, each one of these hands. So let's add it. Let's go here and search for shadow. There we go. Right now we have too much going on, so I'm gonna hide this. And let me take a look. I think I'll go with 4. And yes, works. I think 4 is just perfect. Now here, I'm going to apply the color and just choose the last effect we applied. Right there. And we'll need to, of course, set the pivot because the shadow increases the size of the image. And the pivot goes, you know, out of the place where it was. So we need to reset it right here and push it down right there. And now for the hours. And same spot, yes. And we need to set the seconds to the correct place. So push it down, and I believe 1 pixel to the right. No, 1 to the left. Okay. And perfect. Okay. We can bring everything back now. Enable this, and if we press preview, and there we go. Let's hide the guidelines. Oh, in case something went wrong, I would be, you know, in a bad situation because I never saved the watch face. So don't do this. I'm going to call this Garmin YouTube S70. Okay, and submit, and now we can save. So save as, and we'll select some. I'll save it on the desktop for now, and it's done. It's saved. Okay, I think this watch face is done. All we need to do is create an AOD, or always on display. So let's do that. Here on the always on display, remember to always use very simple always on displays for Garmin. Garmin has a known problem with screen burn-in. So everything should be very dark, and most of the pixels shouldn't be beyond 5% of the black ones. So I'll show you here. Here we'll add a widget, and here I will add a digital dial. Okay, let's add the hours, press generate. And you know what? For this one, I am going to choose a different font. I am not really into this one. Perhaps this one, yeah. Okay, let's choose a darker color. And remember, this has to be dark. Otherwise, you know, you have a test you can do before you export to see if the AOD complies to the rules. So I'll show you that in just a moment. Let's enable the guidelines here. And yes, the size is good. So let's place it. And now let's add the minutes. There we go. Press generate. Pad with zeros, remember, and then crop to content. Oh, the alignment, it's to the left. Let's center it. And then crop the content. And now we need to do the same here for the hours. So generate, align to the center, and crop to contents, and done. Okay, so this is now done. All we need to do is add a small image here, or no, let's go with artistic text. There we go, 2 dots. And believe it or not, our watch face is finished. I'm going to convert this to image and crop the content just to optimize it even further. And this is now done. Let me just check. We don't need the reference image anymore, so we can delete it. Remember, every image, even the invisible ones, the hidden ones, will be exported. So you have to delete them before you export the watch face. So now I would like to see how this looks on a real watch. And since I don't have one, at least not yet, I'm going to use the Garmin simulator. Run simulator, and Facemaker is now creating the watch face. Let's wait just a little bit. And there we go. This is how it would look on the watch itself. Now, of course, this doesn't have data to show the heart rate here. And I can see that the 10 needs some padding. So let's do that. Let's close. And here on the digital dial, yeah, it wasn't padded, as you can see. And let's check if the minutes are, and indeed they are. So let's save and run simulator again. And now it should be padded, or at least I hope. And there we go. I'm not quite sure where this is showing. Oh yes, it's using the 12-hour system. So here you can change that. So this is actually a full-fledged watch simulator. So if your watch face works on the simulator, it will work on the watch. At least theoretically, I guess. So here, if I change the hours system to 24 hours, you'll see that now this is 1610. So let me show you here. I'll enable the preview on Facemaker 2. And there we go. Okay, you can see that this is exactly as it should be. Now for the steps, if you want to simulate the steps, you have to go here, activity monitoring, set activity monitor info, and set the steps here to something like, let's say you want to go all the way to 100 on that needle. Let's set 5,000 because the step goal is 5,000, and press apply. And there we go. Now this is on 100%. This is showing 5,000, and this is showing the distance, 2.5 miles, okay? And yeah, if I increase the steps goal to 10,000, the needle should go all the way to the 50%. So apply, and there we go. Now for the battery, I think it's here. Set battery status, so let's set, I don't know, 85. And okay, and there we go. So yeah, I think I can set also some heart rate preview here. So let's press play, and there we go. And this is somewhat of the Facemaker preview, but less refined, and gives more work to the user to preview it, but at least if it works here, you know it will work on the watch. And that was it. A watch face for Garmin, done exclusively on Facemaker from the ground up using only images and Facemaker tools. How great is that? Okay, so now you know you can build Garmin watch faces on Facemaker. Keep in mind that this is only available on the professional edition. So the standard edition doesn't have this. So if you're thinking of upgrading, do so, because this is great, having access to all this. And keep in mind that also the wearOS watches will only be available in the professional edition. So that was it. I hope you liked it, and I hope to see you on the next one. So bye.